test, and it's for both those taking general and academic IELTS. Remember, I mentioned earlier that there are two categories of IELTS. That is the general for those that want to work in English-speaking countries like the UK or Australia or Canada, and the academic IELTS for people that want to study in these countries. So the part one takes about 4 to 5 minutes. It starts with the introduction plus short conversation. That is the first part. So once you come to the exam, you are required to give your identification number or any other documents that are required, and then you have a short conversation. You have an introduction first, where you greet the examiner. We are going to look at the introduction, how to respond and how to greet the examiner in a different video. And after the introduction, you have a short conversation. Now, after that, these conversation, the topics range from hometown, neighborhood, family, work, friends, study, hobbies, food, and sports. And you need to note here that there's a possibility to have other topics in this first part of the speaking, but these are the common ones. And with the knowledge you have from these ones, you can do well in any other topics. So you are scored based on 4 criteria, and these are, the first one is fluency and coherence. You have about 25% from that. So in this, you need to avoid pausing and hesitating too much. For example, so where are you from? I'm from, so this is pausing and hesitating too much. You should avoid doing that. You should organize your answers. Of course, the examiner is not going to be checking if you organized your answers or not, but it's expected of you to organize your answers. Use connecting words and phrases. For example, well, I believe, generally, I think. So these are connecting words and phrases. We are going to learn them, so don't worry for now. The next is lexical resource. What does that mean? It means your range of vocabulary. Try not to use less common vocab. So the next one is collocations. For example, you have deep, deep feeling, deep pockets, deep sleep, deep trouble. So putting 2 words together, 2 nouns or 2 adjectives together to form, to make a meaning. You have heavy rain, heavy sleeper, a heavy drinker, heavy snow, heavy traffic. Strong smell, strong sense. So these are collocations that you can use to build your lexical resource. And of course, like I said earlier, use less common vocabulary. So instead of saying food, you can use cuisine. So don't worry, we're going to look at these words just for you to understand better and do very well in your exam. So we'll look at all these when we get to the speaking proper. The next is your grammar range and accuracy. So the tenses you use for the past, present, and future. Hypothetical situations, would plus infinitive, like I would like to travel, I would like to do something. And speculating with modal verbs using may, might, could, etc. So your grammar range, how much of grammar that you know, is also you're also judged based on that. And the final one is your pronunciation. So the stress, the intonation. So words like cuisine, women, usually, early. You can see here mistake. So the intonation is, the stress is on the second syllable, like mistake. Democracy, photograph, photography. So you have photograph, photography, photographic. So you can hear the stress in the first, second, and the third syllable in different words. So your intonation during questions and exclamations. For example, really? Are you going today? So you can hear the intonation. It's not just monotone. So try not to talk in monotone. Instead, use different stresses and intonation. So do's and don'ts. Let's begin with the do's. So you should be confident, friendly, and maintain eye contact with the examiner. Try not to look down when speaking. Excitement. You should be happy when speaking about something. And your vocabulary, like I said earlier, food, you can say cuisine, friends, acquaintance, these are other vocabulary that you can use. Try to use high level vocabulary like I enjoy, I prefer, I recommend, etc. Expand your answers. For part 1, I recommend 2 to 4 sentences. Do you like to study? Don't just say no. You can say, yes, I do. I spend about 3 to 4 hours every day in the library studying. It makes me more confident. And of course, you need to practice, practice, practice. So even after this video, go through the video again and again and make sure you practice. Record yourself and listen to yourself to see how much improvement you've made. Let's look at the don'ts. So do not speak with a monotone. Speak with enthusiasm. Speak with zeal, like with passion. So when you're talking about something you enjoyed or something you really liked, you should be more passionate about it. You should speak with excitement. Don't give yes or no answers. Do you like sports? No. Don't give such answers. Try to make it longer and try to talk at length, especially during the part 2 and part 3. But part 1, you can give about 2 to 3 sentences. And do not repeat the question. You can ask for clarification. For example, do you like sports? Do you like sports? So don't repeat the same question that the examiner said, but you can ask for clarification. I'm very sorry, but could you repeat the question? Do not go off topic. When you're given a question about sports, do not start talking about traveling or do not start talking about food. You just stay on the topic. Even if you want to digress, make sure it's still on the basis of the topic you're given. Do not answer, I don't know. You should be able to say something at every question. And do not speak too quickly or too slowly. Speak quietly and be audible. Speak loud enough for your examiner to understand what you're saying. And finally, do not worry about perfect English. Remember, the main aim of this test is to look at your English proficiency, how well you speak English. So make sure that you are loud, even if there are mistakes during your speaking, do not worry about it. You can always correct yourself and repeat what you wanted to say. But make sure that you're making complete sentences with the perfect grammar, which we're going to learn during this course, and you will come out successfully. So the aim of the part 1 is to make you feel comfortable with the examiner and ready to do part 2 and part 3 of the speaking. I believe you've been able to learn a lot about the first part of this test, and by the next video we will get to part 1 in detail, and we will have a lot of speaking, and you will see how to attack the questions and how to come out successful with a good score for this test. See you at the next video, and please go through the videos to understand what we discussed about.